Hello, I'm Richard Jerome. Thank you for joining me on this ITSMF session where I'm going to explore the critical role of ITSM within mergers and acquisitions. I'm going to be looking at what happens to the service management function during the concurrent, collaborative and consolidation stages of an M&A. Now, you may notice that I work for a company called Perspectium. Then maybe you're thinking, what connection does Perspectium have to that BitTitan logo above? Well, in April earlier this year, Perspectium was acquired by BitTitan. But that's already very old news, as BitTitan was acquired by Idera Corporation a little over 2 weeks ago. So I've gone from working for a 75-person company to a 700-person company in less than 6 months. You can imagine then I have a close relationship with this topic. M&As are becoming more and more prevalent. Let's have a look at some market statistics. Global M&As have gone through unprecedented growth in 2020, a trend that will continue in 2021. The global pandemic has had a striking impact on almost all parts of the world, specifically Asia Pacific. For 2021, it seems that enterprises in the Americas are set for the largest amount of growth, going into M&A overdrive, where smaller companies that have not done so well during the pandemic have been bought up by bigger companies with deeper pockets. COVID then has been a catalyst to market consolidation, with global M&As actually doubling in size since 2019. An M&A is one of the most strategic decisions a company can make. It's often much faster to buy a company that has products and services that fit your growth plans than it is to build them yourself. Or perhaps you want to buy a company that's strong in part of the world where you want to increase presence. Or perhaps a product line has grown so big that it can be sold off as an independent entity to a company with growth plans in an entirely different space. Generally, when people hear the word merger or acquisition, the reaction is panic. Very few people are aware of an M&A before it is announced, so there are a lot of unanswered questions when the news first hits. Okay, so how does an M&A impact service management? Well, for the acquiring company or the larger company in a merger, there are several challenges. First of all, you have an entirely new community that you need to support. Those people are going to be making calls, raising tickets, and generally consuming IT services. The processes that come along with that second organisation need to be learned. Change management can be very complicated and is often poorly documented. Then don't forget the tribal knowledge and the unwritten rules. Those also need to be ingested and learned before anybody leaves the organisation. Then you also have twice the amount of technology to maintain and manage. An entire tech stack often exists, multiple ITSM solutions, DevOps solutions, databases, data warehouses. Then there's integrations that may exist between those platforms or to suppliers or customers. All of these things present a challenge to the ITSM business. But the underlying goal of the service management organisation, and therefore its duty, is to maximise value for the IT function as a whole. A disjointed IT integration can impede workflows between the M&A entities, as well as put top-level objectives at risk. So within M&A, it is critical that ITSM function maintains service-level tickets, ensuring that incidents and problems do not spiral out of control. It needs to maintain high levels of customer service, ensuring that mean time to acknowledgement and mean time to resolution doesn't dramatically increase during the period. It also must eliminate data silos that may exist, ensuring that data stored in the key technology platforms is available to the people that make the decisions, the BI teams and the performance improvement teams that crunch numbers that provide that data. And also ensure that there is a single source of truth and that CMDB and service catalogues are consistent to reduce any risk of false positives. Let's acknowledge that an acquisition doesn't happen all at once. There are several stages, some of which could last weeks and some of which could last years. It really depends on the size of the acquisition. The concurrent stage comes right at the announcement, when the two companies begin the process of merging. The reality is, though, during this phase, neither company really changes. And that's quite important because neither company can really afford to put all business on hold and stop what they're doing. The collaborative stage is where two companies actually do begin working together. This is when people, process and technology changes really start to happen and where information is starting to pass consistently between the two teams. And the final stage is consolidation. This is where all duplication is removed and the two entities are now operating as one. Let's have a deeper look at how this works. Here we have two companies, the buyer on the left and the acquired company on the right. Both companies have separate technology stacks, processes and people. The acquisition team will be evaluating all of this to see how things work today and to make decisions about what the future model looks like. But for now at least, it's business as usual and the ITSM teams in both companies will continue to function as they did the day before the deal was announced. The next stage is collaboration. This is where things really start to change. One of the first things to happen is to consolidate and standardize any third-party service providers. When both companies are using the same service providers, bringing services under a single contract creates immediate economies of scale. The next step is to integrate the service desks. This is essential to maintain ticket volumes and levels of service to customers. The ITSM platform, which has been chosen for the long-term solution, can begin to act as the primary system of record. Service tickets can be e-bonded between the two platforms to avoid the immediate need to purchase additional user licenses, while the long-term contracts can be negotiated. This is also the stage where automations between the ITSM and DevOps platforms may take place. Once ticket e-bonding is in place, it's critical that data from both platforms is accessible to BI and analytics teams that are responsible for conducting performance improvement analysis. Often large organizations replicate ITSM data to a data warehouse which is connected to tools like Power BI or Tableau for blended data analysis. High priority data such as P1 incident tickets will also need to be replicated, but in real time, to ensure senior management decisions can be made without any hindrance. The consolidation stage sees amalgamation of all IT functions. Over a period of weeks, months, even years, all duplicated costs have been eliminated from the business and a single source of truth is achieved. Not all post-acquisition companies end up with a single ITSM platform though. Some companies maintain multiple systems for years, but often in more of a dormant state where those platforms become a historical data archive. So let's look at how this applies to a real M&A. In 1998, Zurich Insurance acquired US-based Farmers Insurance to expand their global presence. For almost 2 decades, they remained in the concurrent phase. In 2017, it was decided as part of the larger Zurich vendor consolidation, centralization of ITSM activities into a single management company would take place. By this time, both Zurich and Farmers were using ServiceNow as their ITSM platforms. Zurich needed then to replicate ServiceNow data from the Farmers instance to the Zurich instance. As Zurich were already using Perspectium to automate service tickets to their service providers, they were able to use the same platform to replicate mass data between the prod instances of the ITSM solution. This was mostly a one-way data flow from Farmers to Zurich, but incident, problem and change tickets were bi-directionally synchronized so both service teams could have full visibility, enabling a resource sharing capability. By 2019, the consolidation phase was complete. Zurich were able to cancel their ServiceNow subscription for farmers, releasing a large amount of money, and their Perspectium data sync between the two systems, but left the data sync in place between the new single ServiceNow platform and their data warehouse. In summary then, the role of IT service management is critical to the smooth integration of two companies into a single entity. It's the duty of ITSM to maintain control over levels of service and ensure data accessibility to the senior management decision-making function. Thank you very much for your time. Any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch. Thank you.